Estate Podcast. I'm Al Davis.
Good afternoon, family. Meldon Dickens, your co-host, and we're excited to have you here for our second show. We want to shout out to our Ham Radio family, the producer extraordinaire, Mr. King Richard Good, and to all of our family and friends and followers. We're excited to bring you the second show, and we're glad to get started. We're excited. We had a great show for you today. Excited about our guests. We got a great guest for you.
What's going on, family? Kemoy Martin, and I'm truly honored and blessed to be on the Real Estate Podcast. And listen, man, I'm excited about to give you guys some gems and all the value that I could possibly give.
Well, we're certainly excited to have you here, Kemoy. Let's get this thing started because I'm very excited. I know you're excited as well, right now.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been following you on Instagram, Mr. Martin. And man, it just seems like you are a true trendsetter, jet setter, somebody to know. And excited about your story, how you got started in business, and the opportunity just to sit down and have a conversation with you. I think is a cool for us and our program. So we're excited about what we got going on today.
Yes, and for those of you that's listening that hasn't seen his Instagram, it's Kemoy. That's KEMOY_Martin. Check it out. I know that his Instagram post is an inspiration to me. I look forward to seeing it every day. So, and me being in the business where I can't actually get away on a regular basis. Last time I actually took a vacation where I got some R&R was probably 2015. So I try to live through his posts on Instagram. And if it inspires me, I'm sure it probably inspires other people. So whoever has been his Instagram, go check it out now. So while we're talking with him, you can see some of the things that he's done and he's accomplished. So just to start off, Kemoy, do you remember how you met me?
I believe, well, it was definitely when I was in the wholesaling business and, at just hustling, day-to-day grind, finding deals and then finding, premier cash buyers like myself. And I don't think I remember exactly which deal led me to you. I don't know if maybe you reached out to me or I reached out to you, or maybe I found you through Craigslist. I'm not sure. Do you remember how I found you?
No, I just remember you called me. Like I get a lot of calls from wholesale, but I remember you had a house on Springfield over there off Old York Road that that we went. That's how we met. So when I first met you, you were a wholesaler, and what a wholesaler does, if people don't know, a wholesaler finds deals for investors. So you find good deals like houses at a reduced price that I could buy at a good price, fix it up, and still make money on it. And then the wholesaler charges a fee. So that's how I first met you. But since then, you went on to do, I guess, greater things. But what made you not want to continue wholesaling? And what happened after you was wholesaling?
So, just a disclaimer. I think wholesaling is an amazing business, right? It gives you the opportunity to be able to, to be able to build a business, make a lot of money in a short window of time without having to have a lot of capital, right? And I feel like you learn so much, you meet a lot of people. And in my humble opinion, I think it's a really good foundation for real estate because at the end of the day, as a wholesaler, your job is to find deals, right? And whether you want to be a fix and flipper or you want to be a buy and hold type person, developer, whatever, the foundation is finding good opportunities and finding deals, right? So I feel like wholesaling is definitely an amazing opportunity. But I think the thing for me was it's you can make a lot of money, but if you don't really have a big team or just a team and you don't really set up a certain way, it can almost feel like a job. It's like you're working from deal to deal.
Yes.
And for me, I didn't want that feeling, right? Obviously, like you guys said, I travel all the time. I love to travel. I love freedom. I love having my own time. And I never want to feel like, okay, great, I got this good deal. But then it's like I'm in a constant just hustle mode to get that next one. So I took a lot of my capital that I earned from wholesaling and I poured it into other businesses. And, one of the businesses in particular was getting into the short-term rental industry. Most popularly known when it comes to the Airbnb business, it's just under the short-term rental umbrella. But that's what I tapped into, and other businesses that allow me to create passive income, really. But once I really got a taste of being able to make income, whether I'm physically present or not, that's what led me to that transition.
Your question, brother. You know, and I know you just kind of expanded and branched off and doing great success with the Airbnb. But when we're talking about the wholesaling, because we kind of was when we did our first show, we talked about getting into real estate without having any money. And that was sort of a hook. Everybody wanted to come. We had a live audience and it was really a great time. And people even asked me today, man, how did you get started? How much money did you have? And I mean, to be honest, you know, I had the mentorship and the tutelage of Al. And so I didn't have a lot of money, or I didn't use a lot of my own capital. So I got into kind of doing wholesale deals. He told me how to do assignment contracts. Question for you is, what type of money do you think? I mean, can you just show an example? Not that I don't want you to necessarily disclose your income, but what type of money do you think people who are just kind of getting started can potentially make in wholesaling? That they can potentially then, you know, as you did, take their capital and put them into other business ventures. I mean, what do you think are some of the areas, and how could they kind of scale up?
Right. Yeah. And you know, it depends. It depends on the market that a person's in. But I know for me, when I was getting started, like the average wholesale deal was about like, you know, 5 to 10 grand, right? And I truly believe it is extremely doable for the average person to be able to at least do 1 to 2 deals per month. Like, you know, like at least if you're consistent with marketing and you know, and you're just doing the necessary, you know, steps, right? So for real, I mean, I truly believe a person can make anywhere from, you know, 20K a month, really. And the thing is, it doesn't have to take a lot of money. I know for me, when I got started, I had a job at the Department of Social Services as a caseworker, right, making less than $30,000 a year. And honestly, that job was really the catalyst for me wanting to get into just wholesaling, just entrepreneurship in general, because I went to Morgan State University in Baltimore and I got into about $100,000 in student loan debt. And I could not find a job in my field for nothing. So like getting that job at social services was a hookup, right? And believe it or not, getting a $30,000 job was a hookup, right? But I was blessed, grateful to have a job. But to be honest with you, after doing that for a couple of years, I just knew in my heart I couldn't just work 40 plus hours a week for $30,000. It just, for the life of me, it didn't make sense. It just, you know, so I was really looking for different opportunities that could allow me to become an entrepreneur and make money while still not having a lot of money, right? So that's when I came across wholesaling. What I found out was you can really grind, right? So if you don't have a lot of capital, it's like you can, you know, for me, when I got started, it was like I was putting up like banner signs. You can, you know, direct mail. I know direct mail is probably not as popular now as it was back then, but like that doesn't have to take up a lot of that. That can be a little costly, but you know, what I did was I partnered up with a couple other people and we had poured some money to direct mail. But even like going on Craigslist and like trying to find deals on Craigslist and all these different ways, like it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You can knock on doors if you really want to, if you really want to get gangster, right? But needless to say, man, like it is really a business that if you don't have a lot of money, you can really get out there and grind and hustle. At the end of the day, it's all wholesaling is marketing, right? Like when you really get good at marketing and just like constantly filling up your pipeline with potential opportunities of motivated sellers, like you're gonna find deals. Like it's just a matter of you just gotta be consistent. And you can have no money, or if you have money, that's great too, because then you can just pour more money into marketing. But you can do it with little to no money, or you know, some money too.
No, I agree. And I tell a lot of people, and you can speak on this as well, and so can you, Mel, you could touch on it. Can you talk a little bit about when you were wholesaling, what made you want to get into wholesaling, and how important is it to have someone that has the experience to put yourself around to learn from in order to get into a business where you could be successful?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, you want me to answer?
Go ahead, Kemoy, then Meldon can answer.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, like finding the right person is everything, right? Like the way how I even got introduced to it, when I had that dissatisfaction from that job, I started reading books like personal development books, right? And I read one book by the name of Success Principles by Jack Canfield, and Jack Canfield was talking about creating mastermind groups with like-minded people. And I literally just looked up, you know, just texted a few of my friends that had that similar dissatisfaction of their job like I did, and we would meet up like once a week and we would talk about different business ideas. And you couldn't even imagine all the crazy different ideas that came up in conversation. Like we even thought about having like a hookah shop, that we thought about owning a club lounge. And then one of my friends, you know, they talked about wholesaling. And me personally, I had no idea what wholesaling was. This was back in 2013. Right. And he's like, yeah, man, you know, you don't have to have a lot of money, and you can, you know, find houses and, you know, kind of, you know, just kind of sell a contract to a end buyer or whatever. And I'm like, it sounds interesting. So I started doing the research, and I had found people that were making a lot of money in wholesaling, right? Some of the people that were making millions and millions of dollars. And I would literally try to find anything that they had online, from ebooks or just like any type of courses or mentorships. And I just literally went on a binge of just taking in all this information. And just from doing that, I got inspired to go to like more conferences and seminars and meeting more people that are very well versed when it came to wholesaling. And it was like the more I learned, the more confident I got, and I just started putting the work out there in marketing. And the thing is, what I always tell people, you know, the shortcut to success is finding people that already have what you want, right? Like the shortcut to success is finding people that have already done it. So many people, they want to do things by themselves, and it's like you're gonna go through all the time and money trying to, you know, figure it out on your own, when you could save a lot of time and money to learn from somebody that went through all those sacrifices and wasted all that time, wasted all that money, right? Like literally, so if you pay somebody that has took 5, 10, 20, whatever years to learn a specific craft that they make a lot of money in,
right,
you're literally getting the opportunity to avoid the 5, 10, whatever years that they spent mastering that craft so that they made millions of dollars, right? But instead, a lot of people, they just choose to say, well, I'm gonna just figure it out on my own, right? Then they have to go through their own 5, 10, 15, whatever years. But you can probably do it in your first year, because you can find a mentor or a coach that has done it before. They can give you the cheat code, right? The shortcut. So
yeah, no need of reinventing the wheel.
Man, and I think that is so profound, Kemoy, because you know, as I was working with Al, you know, he has his own mentorship program, and obviously, you know, there's a cost to it, and you know, teaching folks how to wholesale, I mean, assess property values and all of those things. But the interesting thing to me was sometimes when I would tell people about it, they kind of cringe at the cost, right? Yeah. But I think about, well, but you paid $100,000 to go to college, and as you just said, you had $100,000 of student loan debt, but you're only working a job is only $30,000 a year. So it's you know, I think sometimes we can put a value on, you know, the type of information and the business acumen that folks like yourself and Mr. Davis have, and can bring to the table. But you know, I would say I definitely agree with what you said. I think when I you know, as Al kind of brought me in and started showing me the ropes, what was amazing to me was really, in many ways, I thought of it as almost a networking opportunity, because just as you said earlier, Kemoy, I met so many people. Now many of the people I have, I'm building my own sort of buyers list, right? My own investors list, and my own list of wholesalers and contacts. And I think sometimes, you know, interesting thing happened to me yesterday. Went to look at a property, met about 3 different brothers who were into investing and wholesaling, right? So immediately we exchanged information. So now I have 3 additional people that I may contact now around potential wholesaling deals. If I get something, or if I'm looking for a property for an investor or for myself, now I have, I'm just expanding content. So I think this has been invaluable. And, you know, again, always learning from somebody. One of the things I said, I'm always have an opportunity for conversation, and just kind of talk to people and learn, because you learn sometimes looking at a house that's in terrible shape, just kind of what other people are doing and how they're moving and what some of the trends are in the particularly the wholesaling market. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and I tell everybody, and I was speaking on it for years. The way that what I learned when I first got into the game is that I didn't know everything about the real estate game. So I decided when I would meet people and I knew that those persons had what I needed to know, had the knowledge that I needed to know, I tried to surround myself with them in some type of aspect. Like my lawyer, for instance, I knew that he had started a hard money company, and he had, you know what I'm saying, they had lent out $20 million. So I knew that was a person I wanted to be around and I wanted to learn from. So I'll try to get more acquainted about how he does his business and the things he do and the things that he doesn't do. And people that had many properties, like my man Fred is probably going to come on. He had like 1,500, 2,000 properties. So I started, trying to get more acquainted with them and learn from them some of the things that I didn't learn. So I didn't feel as though it was a need to reinvent the wheel when I could just surround myself with people that had the knowledge that I didn't have at that time.
Yeah.
So all the years, just by surrounding myself with people and gaining the knowledge that they've acquired over the years, I've learned much more in a quicker period of time, like you said, Kemoy. So I think that's very important, very instrumental for people to understand. You can get in the game, any type of game, and learn, but you're gonna have to try to invent your own wheel, try to reinvent wheel, but you don't really have to if you could just find somebody that has the experience that you need in the area that you need, and be respectful about it. Be respectful about their time. Pick their brain if you can, in any way you can, and just take that which you can learn and keep going.
Yep. There's so much power in proximity. So much power. Just getting around the right people can change your life.
Yes, I agree. Now, when you were doing wholesaling, did you actually keep any of the properties?
No. And
Okay.
That's another thing too about wholesaling, right? Like, again, wholesaling can be an amazing foundation, and but what a lot of people have to keep in mind is, like, you got to have some type of goal. You got to have some type of exit strategy, because, like, boom, you make all this money wholesaling. If you just continue to go deal to deal, you're going to keep going from deal to deal, right? Like, you got to put, what I would highly recommend is you take some of that capital and actually, like, pour it into real estate, like buy assets, right? So that way you're not only making money from just, moving these deals, but you're also making money passively in other avenues as well.
I agree. So, and that's what I did when I started. And I got the list from the bank, and I started wholesaling. I was doing like 4 wholesale deals a month. I just saved as much. I pay my bills, and I saved as much as I can until I was able to save enough money to put down on the first investment property, and then I just continued on from there. But yeah, you have to have goals. You have to have goals and objectives. You can't just, because money goes so fast. You could easily spend $100,000 a month. That's really easy to do. But if you have goals and you want to put your money back into your business, I think that's the best route to go. What do you think, Mel?
Yeah, money does go fast. And I think wholesaling, because what's interesting about it, oftentimes, it's like you're getting your money in 30 days. Typically, the typical deal is about a 30-day close. And so even though you say, oh man, I've made $20,000, but you still got to wait 30 days to collect it. And then so I think you have to be disciplined to say, I'm not going to spend my 20,000 before I get it in my hand, right? Or put it right back in, just as what Al said, put it right back into investing if you want to buy assets, as you said, Kemoy. So I think that's a critical point, because sometimes the money is coming so fast, you can say, oh wow, I'm going to the mall. Or obviously, when you get money, if you got family responsibilities, there's always things that come up, and we all know that, right? I mean, sometimes things unforeseen that come up, but having a goal, I think, is important. Putting it on paper. I remember, I can remember it vividly. I still have the paper. I'm gonna pull it out and show it to you. When we sat in Panera Bread, me, you, and another Mr. Davis, and we put down on paper how I could try to get to my goals, right? And so it's been a process, but I'm working towards that. So I think that's critically important, about how we gotta structure deals. And I think you're right, Kemoy. I can see where this could become sort of like a job, because unless you have some other income, it could be a thing where I'm chasing deals, right? Because if I'm dependent on wholesaling to be my primary source of income, then I could continuously put myself sort of on a hamster wheel that I have to continuously chase, the next deal. So I mean, I really like what you said about how you decided to, I guess, for lack of a better term, diversify and put some of your capital into other business opportunities.
Yeah, because I'm looking at them like, of course, on the real estate scale, I was maybe a little above you. I don't really want to say I was better. I was just a little above you as far as my experience, I guess. But I'm looking at you now like, I mean, I still do my real estate thing. I'm happy with it, but I much rather be living, you know what I'm saying? I much rather have your, be doing some of the stuff that's on your Instagram. So you sort of like an inspiration to me now, because I would love to get away and go to some of the locations that I see you in on your Instagram. And I know whoever go to your Instagram and look at that, they probably gonna feel the same way, because I don't have any vacation photographs and videos on my Instagram. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about, like, do you have Airbnbs in all those locations? How did you get to all those locations, and what would one have to do? Like, say a guy like me that I'm just a real estate guy. I'm not much more than that. All I do is basically work, and it was told to me just go home and sleep or whatever. But how leverage what I'm doing now to kind of sort of like you're living in your Instagram? Can you help me get to that point? And what do you think some of the traits I need to have?
Well, what I will say is, first and foremost, it's very humbling hearing that from you, because, I've looked up to you for years, right? Like, especially when I got into the real estate game, man. Like, I just kind of seeing what you were doing, and just the fact that you were also helping other people, of course, the amount of money that you were making and the success that you were having, like, that was like, that helped expand my vision and my possibility of what's out there, man. And it's just kind of humbling just hear you say that about me. But what I'll say is, man, like, you gotta really know what you want, right? Like, I always tell people, entrepreneurship it's exciting. Like, the opportunity to make it exciting. That's why people will see like certain people posting checks, or people living certain lives, and they'll want to know what do they do, and they'll just kind of like run and gravitate, which is fine, because that's what a lot of us kind of do when we want to get into business. We tend to see some type of story or inspiration out there.
Yes.
But what we also have to understand is, it's more than just money, right? Because if you choose a business just because of the amount of money that you can make, but if you're not necessarily enjoying, the full picture of the business, it's like you're really not going to be fulfilled, And I always tell people, like, design your life, then choose an opportunity. Don't choose an opportunity, then design your life, right? So many people, they try to choose a job, and then they realize that the job doesn't allow them to live the life that they want, right? So for me, I just sat down one day and I just really thought about, okay, how do I want my life to be? And I know for me, traveling was really important to me. Like, it's not just about going on vacations. I just have a deep down desire to see the world, create a lot of experiences and just really live life to the fullest. But I didn't want to just be able to travel. I also wanted to be able to build wealth and make money, right? So that's when I started just kind of really pinpointing, okay, what kind of businesses can allow me to do that, right? And Airbnb was one of them. But what I will say is, just because you have an Airbnb business doesn't automatically mean you're going to be rich and free automatically. No, you still have to build the business right. You got to structure it. And if you do want it to be passive income, you need to create a system and build a team, right? So that's what I did. I started with one property. And the cool thing is, when it comes to this whole Airbnb and short-term rental thing, you can do this with owning a property, but you can also do it without owning a property. And that's kind of my specialty right there. I call it rental arbitrage, right? And that's the ability of acquiring a property that's more so designed for long-term rental. We'll rent or lease the property out, and then we'll furnish it, create a comfortable space, and then we'll utilize a platform like Airbnb and other similar sites. And this gives us the opportunity to create cash flow, right? And of course, with people booking your properties, right? People are staying, they could be staying for one day, they could be staying for a week, they could be staying for a month, they could be staying for several months. And to some people, they're like, well, is it a lot of work dealing with people that may be, checking in for one day and you got another person checking in for 2 days? Like me personally, I'm not really present for any of it, because again, I have a team, right? So I got cleaners, I got a handyman, I got virtual property managers, so that way anything that's going on my property, I can literally be halfway across the world and I don't have to be present, right? Because I got people talking to guests 24/7, 365. I got people cleaning the properties. I got people helping out if guests ever have issues. And that's really the thing with any business. Like most businesses, it could be it can be passive. Like you can pretty much be able to remove yourself and be able to make money while doing what you want. But you got to build a team. Build a team, create a system. And I just built it from one property after one property after one property. I took my profits from one and I poured into another, took my profits from the second, poured into the third one. And that's the thing when you start making money, right? And that's something that I wish I would have been more aware of with wholesaling. When you take your money, right, either reinvest it into your business, reinvest it into marketing, but most importantly, you want to reinvest into the business of some sort so that way it can continually grow and scale. And as the passive income went up, the stamps on my passport went up, and it's just I have fun with this business, right? I have fun with this business, and I also teach other people the business as well, right? But what I'll tell you, what it takes is it really takes it's mindset too. Everything's mindset, especially with business, right? It's like first of all, you have to believe you can really build a business while still traveling around the world. Like that has to be like a belief. Right? Like for some people, they don't even believe they can do that. But you got to believe that you can. And then once you really believe that you can, then you can set up the necessary things in place as far as creating a system and, leveraging, whether it's OPM or just other people's time. That's what happens when you build a team. But just being in that mindset to understand that you can build something that can allow you to travel the world if you want to travel, or just most importantly, build something to the point where it's passive so that way you can have the time to do what you want.
Exactly. And that's what we want to talk about. So I don't understand. I want you to break it down some more. So you basically saying we're going to take a break, but when you come back, I want you to explain how you can get I think you call it short-term rental, short-term without
rental arbitrage.
Yeah, I want you to explain that and how I could get a property without owning it, but still make money from the short-term rentals. So we're going to break it. When we come back, we're going to talk about it. Okay, Kemoy?
For sure.
Hey, family, welcome back to the Real Estate Podcast. And we're going to get started with our second half of the show. We're here with myself, Meldon Dickens, and my brother here, Al Dace.
Your compadre.
The real estate guru, I like to call him. And we have a dynamic, awesome guest today, Brother Kemoy Martin. Amen. Amen. And so we're going to get started.
Big Kemoy. Hey, Mel, this is what I want to know. Listen, I look at Kemoy's Instagram all the time. It motivates me. I'm inspired. I told you about it, right?
Yes, sir.
Do it inspire you? All the places you go to?
Absolutely.
I'm tripping because somebody told me this morning, actually, all you do is work and sleep. I want to stop that. I don't want to work and sleep no more.
Right.
And I want to get in this. You want to know, like, I want to know how Kemoy get these short-term leases or rental properties without owning them. I want to know that because I'm getting ready to sell all my properties and travel like you. And I'm going to get one or two of those. If I go to the Maldives and get one, I'll be happy with that one. But one thing before we touch on that, a lot of people look like, I know a lot of people in real estate. I've been doing it for over 20 years. So a lot of people look at my life and inspired to do what I do. But I don't want everybody to think this is all roses because I work a lot. Like I work a lot and I'm always tired. And like somebody told me again this morning, you be up at 4 o'clock every morning, Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, work all day, go to bed at 8 o'clock, get up and do it again tomorrow. And I haven't took a vacation since I got real R&R since 2015. So I don't want anybody to live a life like that. You know what I mean? It's not real happy. You know what I'm saying? You with people that you're happy with, but it's not a happy life and it's stressful. But if I could mix the two and free up some of my time, I like to do some of the things that Kemoy's doing. So I'm looking at his stuff so I can go get some Airbnbs or short-term rentals in different places around the country and around the world. And I can also visit those places while at the same time making money on it. So
yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
That's where I want to be. I'll be awesome to scale up to that level. And I think, but I also want to say real quick that some of what I'm listening when I watch you and Kemoy, right? You both are controlling your own destiny. So time is a good thing. You just gotta, I would say, manage yours a little more to take some more relaxation, right? But you still have your own time. You're your own man. You're your own boss in the sense you don't necessarily work for anyone else. And that's what Kemoy is doing. And I think this is what a lot of people want. And even if folks can't maybe scale up to that level, maybe it is the additional passive income or I think Kemoy said it earlier, conducting generational wealth, right? Building wealth, for your folks that come after you, your children, your grandchildren, and creating that legacy. So I think you're on your way. I think he has a unique formula, I think, to be able to kind of do this in the business we in. And so we're really interested in hearing from Brother Martin here. So I got a question. As you start talking about how you get started, because I know this is something that always happens, because folks are going to ask, well, what does my credit have to look like? Or do I have to have a lot of money? Do I have to have, a 750 credit score, 800 credit score? And so that's a question, because I think that's something that sometimes folks look at where they are in their lives and they say, oh, well, I might only have a 650 because I have maybe that student loan debt, right? And many of us have that. I just finished the master's program, so I'm in that boat. So if you can touch on that a little bit, I think that would be a great gem for us.
Yeah, for sure. So what I always tell people, right? It's like, number one, if you want to be an entrepreneur, right? Like you gotta be very solution oriented. And you also have to understand that no matter where you are in life, financially, credit-wise, whatever, you can make it happen. But you have to understand that you can make it happen. That's the most important thing. A lot of people they knock themselves out the game before they even start, right?
Right.
And would it help to have good credit? As far as this whole rental arbitrage thing, absolutely. Do you need good credit? Is it a make or break thing? No, it's not. Matter of fact, one of my coaching students, she got into my coaching program, I want to say the beginning of February, and it's like she felt like she had to really take it slow because she felt like her credit was shot. She had somebody working on her credit, and I was like, no, right? Like, no, do not take it slow. Like, let's start the process. Let's actually have the conversation with landlords and property managers about what it is that we do.
Right.
And because there was that shift in her thought process. Okay, cool. Let me not get caught up on my situation. Let me actually follow through on the plan. And literally, 1 week later, she found an opportunity, right? She found an opportunity to get a property, a 1-bedroom apartment within a complex. And not only did they allow her to get this one property that she's going to utilize for her Airbnb business, they also asked if she wanted more properties, right?
Wow.
And so the thing is, there's different ways you can go about it, right? Like you can deal with apartment complexes and property managers, or you can deal with private landlords, right? You can go either route, right? But what I would say is, if your credit is not so great, it's probably easier to go to the private landlord route. But either way, you can make it happen, right? Like I have documented students that have made it happen without having the greatest credit. Also, if all else fails, you can also partner up with somebody, maybe for the first go around, right? Somebody that does have good credit, right? You just have to have the mindset that there's always a way, right? So that's what I'll say when it comes to that.
Okay. Well, break it down for me, because I'm not real smart. So I look like this. When you tell me stuff like that, I'm like, all right, can I go to the Maldives, talk to the Sheraton Hotel in the Maldives, and can I do a short-term rental with one of your rooms? Just let me get 303 and a short-term rental for that, and that's my Airbnb.
So, all right. So I guess let me simplify, right? First of all, you can do this globally. You can do this in other countries. But what I always tell people, you can start this business right in your backyard, right? Like right in Atlanta, right in Baltimore, right in Houston, California, New York, where you can start in your backyard. And I probably have about 500 students nationwide, and even other parts of the countries, some students in the UK, Ghana, in the Caribbeans, right? And again, you can start right in your own city. Of course, there's certain regulations that you have to be mindful of, but for the most part, you can start right in your own city. And the thing is, if you do want to take this to other countries, you can as well. And at the end of the day, it's all about just effectively communicating and negotiating with landlords and property managers. That's really the name of the game, and creating a win-win situation. Because it has to make sense for them and it has to make sense for you. So that's exactly how we go about doing it.
Okay, so I go find a property manager, or a landlord.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm thinking big time. That's all I'm thinking. Like I want to go down to Harbor in Baltimore.
Yep.
The building they just built at 100 Light Street. I want to go in and talk to the management and say, can I get unit 303? And I want a short-term rental it. Let me get it, or do I just rent it and then go ahead and short-term rental it? I'm just trying to get a better understanding.
Yeah, great question, right? And I'm actually glad you said that, right? Because when it comes to this business, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. When I first got started in this business, I did this completely wrong, right? And what I say by that is like I was actually renting out these places without getting permission for short-term rentals. And the thing is, I would always tell people like, you don't want to go down that route because number one, you can get kicked out, right? You can piss off a landlord or prop manager, right? Another thing, it's not a real business at that point, right? It's just, you're just kind of hoping nobody finds out. You're just doing it, right? Because like when you look at most leases, it pretty much, you're pretty much signing a piece of paper that says you're not going to sublet or you're not going to let anybody else stay in the space besides yourself, right? So you want to do this the right way. And you want to be able to, again, communicate and negotiate with these people on the intent of your business. So that way you guys can actually create, an agreement. And that agreement could be, say, there's a regular lease, right? Then you can have an addendum on top of that lease, pretty much stating how you're going to utilize this property, right? Or you can have a lease, say, under your business name. But either way, it's really important that you position it the right way. So that way you can have a long-term business.
Okay.
Oh, the thing is, what I'll tell you is you can get one unit, right? You can get a house. You can do this with a house. You can do this with a condo. You can do this with an apartment. And the thing is, you could just get one apartment, or you can position yourself to say connect with like a developer or somebody that's that's launching a new apartment. Like you can lease up a whole entire building, right? Like you can lease up a whole complex, or you can get a bunch of units, right? You can do this on a very big scale, or you can start, at the ground level just by unit. There's different ways to go about it.
So is there like say if I'm going to this apartment complex or this building that has rental units and it's in the area that I want to Airbnb or short-term rental, is there a specific script or spiel or lines that I have to say to the management company or to the ownership? Like, how do I word it to them? Is there a certain way you have to word it to them in order to let you do that to their building? Because they can do it themselves. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. So what I will tell you is, I do have a script, but I have some students that would kind of like get mad at me if I just kind of shot my script. But what I will tell you is the most important thing is finding a way to explain the value in working with somebody like you, right? Having them understand that you're just not going to have any or everybody in these properties. Like you're actually conducting a business, and you're going to be doing it well, right? That's really the most important part. And then you can really cultivate a script or a soundbite that's real to you, that makes sense for you, but also it aligns with a landlord or prop manager. Now, at the end of the day, this isn't going to be for every landlord or prop manager. Like I want to make that very clear. Not every landlord or prop manager out here is going to be for this. It is what it is. But there is more than enough opportunity. Like matter of fact, within the past 48 hours, two of my students, locked up, 4 properties, for their short-term rental business. So it's like, there's more than enough opportunity. It's just a matter of position yourself and doing it the right way, and also being okay with rejection. Because like I said, not everyone's going to be for this. So it's like, just because one landlord or prop manager tells you no, get over it. It's like almost like wholesaling, right? Like just because one motivated seller, just because the seller tells you no, it's like, doesn't mean that no is like forever, or it's like, doesn't mean that there aren't deals out there. You just got to keep going. There's people out there that's looking to partner up with you or connect with you.
Yeah, don't stop right there. Now, once you get in the door and you get the meeting with the property manager or the building owner, you basically doing a lease with them, so you're gonna have to have in your pocket the first month's rent and the security deposit. Because I know when I rent my properties, who I'm talking to gonna have to show they have the income to afford the rental, or they have to be with a program, or they have to have their first month. They have to have the first month's rent. That's my question. How could you afford it? And you're gonna need your security deposit. Do you have your security deposit? So those are some of my main questions. Are those the
Yep.
questions you answer? And is that the money that you have to have also?
Yep. You're gonna want to put up the rent and the deposit. But I always tell people this, right? Like OPM, other people's money. There's ways to leverage credit. There's ways to, I mean, just a hack. Like you can liquidate a credit card. Like there's ways to get the funding, even for the deposit and the rent, right? Like there's unique strategies. So it's like whether somebody has the capital or not, never let lack of funds be the reason why you don't start. Especially if it's only like because if I can give you an average amount to launch, say like a 1-bedroom apartment for an Airbnb business, you know, I'll say it's roughly about $4,000, right? And it's like with utilizing OPM, there's ways to get that. And I'll furnish a whole unit with a credit card, and I'll rack up all these reward points to travel for free.
Wow. Say that one more time. You went right over my head. Say that again.
Other people's money. OPM. I like it.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of business because I tell everybody, don't if you to get in this business, money's probably the last thing I worry about. Where I'm gonna get the money from, how I'm gonna get the money. That's the last thing I worry about. I just worry about finding a good deal.
People with money always say that, Kemoy.
No, but it's a fact though. It's a fact. Good opportunity, like money attracts a good opportunity, right? There's always a way.
Yeah, I want to jump in real quick if I can, Al. So what are some of the trends? Like I've been hearing some things because in fact, you know, as Al and I, we've been talking about this, and you know, people have been asking about and talking about Airbnb. And what are some of the trends? And then I'm also understanding, is there some like legislation that because they're trying to maybe track down or cut down on some of this money, like maybe the hotel industry is maybe angry because of the competition. I understand they're going to because Airbnbs are not, or short-term rentals are not registered like hotels, but in some ways they operate like hotels. Is there anything that you see or that's going on, trends that's coming down the pipe that we should be aware of as it relates to that?
Yeah, for sure. So like some cities have definitely implemented certain regulations for different reasons. Some cities they just want a piece of the pie, right? So they're trying to get their tax. Other reasons, like you mentioned, hotels they're just hating, right? The same reason why the taxi industry was hating on Uber, right? It's just
Right.
they start just kind of like getting into their pockets and you know kind of getting into their income. So there are certain things in place, and I always tell people like, you know, do your own due diligence, but it's like you can still absolutely make it happen. Like in Baltimore, for instance, like I got a bunch of properties in Baltimore, and it's like in Baltimore, you need to get a short-term rental license. And the amazing thing is it's not hard to get. It's actually pretty simple. But that's why it's really important to get permission from landlords and property managers, so that way any documentation that you need to get, anything that you may need to get registered, you can easily get it done because you have the consent of the landlord or property manager.
Okay.
Now, these properties that you want to acquire, do the short-term rentals on, is it still a rule of location, or can they be anywhere within a city?
So location is definitely key. I truly believe you can probably make it happen in maybe any and every neighborhood, but to an extent. Obviously, people are going to be willing to pay more being in a better neighborhood, right? Or like you gotta understand too, with Airbnb, it attracts travelers from different countries. So it's like if I can give you just kind of like certain insight, you know, in certain neighborhoods in Baltimore, you get somebody that's from like Boston or certain parts. Like if you depending on the part of Baltimore, that could be like really scary for somebody that's like not from there, right? So you definitely got to be mindful because Airbnb attracts certain type of travelers, and the best bet is really get things in just areas where people would like to be, or that's in close proximity to places where people are trying to travel to, whether it be like, you know, airport, convention centers, hospitals, you know, headquarters, corporations, and or just or even like sometimes universities, right? You want, location is definitely a thing. And I always tell people this, right? Here's a hack. If you want to know a good place to get an Airbnb, look into getting something nearby a hotel, because if you understand about hotels spend a lot of money researching where they should put their properties. Like hotels just don't put their properties anywhere. They're very strategic.
Right.
So yeah, location does matter. But at the same time, you can also attract, like, say, travel nurses or people that are looking to stay someplace long term. And it may not necessarily have to be like in a super touristy area, and it can be like, kind of like in a residential, and you can still make money and make it happen.
Okay, so can I do it with a hotel? Can I keep it
So what I will tell you, I've seen hotel rooms on Airbnb. Just me personally, I don't know how that even works. Or a lot of times too, sometimes hotels will even put rooms on Airbnb. Sometimes apartments themselves put properties on Airbnb. So it's like, can you put it? Possibly, but me personally, I'm not like an expert when it comes to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm sure you're gonna learn about it and let me know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always a student, so I'm always learning new stuff.
All right. So whatever you need to know about this and what Mel and I'll do, I got you. Don't worry about it. I need to know how to get to some of these locations. If you know the people at the front desk or whatever, so that I can go ahead and try to book one of these trips, man, and stay at one of these exotic locations. That's my man. You're my main man, 50 grand. But I want to take some trips. But I'm really excited to learn more about how to do these short-term rentals. Mel, whatever question you might have for Kemoy.
So I mean, I was we're talking about trends, and it seems like that this is, I just am wondering, because like you said hating, right? I guess the hotel industry, or folks want their piece of the pie when you cutting into somebody else's profit. They lobby. So I'm wondering, just like in terms of, you've been in it for some time, I guess a few years, and been able to be successful, but what would it be for us saying, okay, we want to kind of launch an Airbnb business? What would you think it's going to be like in the next 5 years?
Well, here's my thought process. That's a good question. I have 100% belief in the short-term rental industry, because the short-term rental industry has been around even before Airbnb. Like, Airbnb came out, I want to say like maybe like around 2007 or 5 or something like that. Airbnb has been around for like years, but at the same time, it's like the short-term rental industry has been around probably before we've all been put on this earth, right? Like, there's always been short-term rentals in some way, shape, or form. So right. Airbnb is just a platform that made it very popular, and that just made it very easy for the average everyday person to actually make it a business, and also to even book one. Do I know how long Airbnb will be here? Not 100%. It's a great company, and I believe it's going to be here for a long time. But at the end of the day, I feel like the ability to have a short-term rental, that's going to be here forever, because it was here before, and it's going to just continue to be here. People always need short-term rentals. That's why there's hotels. But the reason why people like Airbnbs and things of that nature, like, is because typically you'll see houses, condos, apartments. So people like to have that home away from home, and the kitchens and all the different stuff. And that's what makes it a cool concept in comparison to, say, just a regular hotel room.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I remember in the early 2000s, we used to go to beaches, and I had a large family, small kids, and we would always get a vacation cottage. And I remember going to an island, and they had the island rentals, but it was always tended to be around a tourist location. And now I feel like Airbnb, like you said, around colleges. I know when my daughter graduated from college, it was a family that came in. They lived in actually Shanghai, and they came in to New York, but they found a place in the city, and I was mad because I had rented a hotel, and I was outside the city because I was saving a couple dollars. So it's just like the nuance is going, and now people, it's not just around a vacation piece; it's around business. Like you said, universities, maybe professors are coming in to teach, or their seminars, or businesses. So I think now the expansion of how people use it has made it not only more lucrative, but given more opportunity.
Yep.
Sound like it could be kind of lucrative. I'm actually thinking about it. I guess my last question, because I know we got to go. I know you got to get on a plane, go somewhere. But do you actually go out and seek the units, or do people call me every day with properties? Wholesalers, the banks, agents. Do people call you with the property and you go look at the locations like I do, or do you go out and do some type of marketing to find properties and locations?
Yeah. So, see, in the very beginning, I used to aggressively go out to find properties and talk to landlords and property managers. But now, because I have such great relationships with the landlords and property managers that I work with, you know, every time there's availability in their apartments, they always reach out to me. Like in one building, I have about 8 apartments in one building that has 20 units. And every time somebody moves out, they're always reaching out to me if I want more. And because of social media, right? People constantly, landlords, property managers constantly reach out to me, asking me if I'm looking for more units because they're looking to, you know, work with somebody like me. So yeah. So I don't have to go out as much. Opportunity kind of finds me, but yeah.
So if somebody okay, I want to know more about it. So I'm gonna stay in touch with you. But like, say if somebody listens to our podcast or whatever, and they go to your Instagram, if they want to call you to get more information on how to do this, how would they catch you?
So definitely, you guys can tap in with me. You know, you can find me on Instagram, Kemoy, KEMOY_Martin. I have an upcoming Airbnb masterclass that's free. You can tap into, and if you just reach out to me on Instagram, you'll be able to get the details on that.
Right, and that's the only place they can catch you, right? On your Kemoy _Martin, what you said.
Yeah, or on YouTube. They can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I drop a lot of gems there as well.
Okay, so they're gonna check you out on that. If anybody has any questions with us, like if you want to know about the mentorship program, if you got wholesale properties and you can't get rid of them, call Meldon. He'll go look at them. You go to skymilesllc.com, go to Hand Radio. You can send an email there. Any of our places where you can reach us. Or if you're looking for properties to buy, we got wholesale properties all the time. If you can't sell your hotel property, call us. We'll look at it. If we like it, we'll buy it. If you're interested in the mentor program, just go to whatever we put up on the screen. So
Kemoy, real quick, man, I know we got to go, and I know you got to get ready to get on a plane and go to the next exotic place, but we want to thank you. Really appreciate your time, brother, today. It's been phenomenal, and we thank you for taking the time, and we'd like to maybe reserve the opportunity to bring you back and talk some more about this great business that you're doing. And so we just wanted to thank you. Certainly, we want to shout out to Hand Radio, all the folks out there listening, and we definitely take care of our brother, our producer, the visionary of Hand Radio, King Richard Good. So we thank you all for tuning in, and please follow us on all the social media apps. The Real Estate Podcast on Facebook _estate_podcast on Instagram, and the Real Estate Podcast on Twitter and all those other social media platforms. And also we're on YouTube, Spotify, all the podcast channels. So check us out. Thank you all.
Our home is handradio.org.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, guys. It was truly an honor. Guys, if you're serious about real estate, definitely tap in with Al. He's guru beast, right? But not just a guru, but he actually knows his stuff. So definitely the wisest decision you'll make, tapping in with him. And if I could say anything just before I get out of here, anything that you want to do, like 100% make it happen. Like the life that you want, it's available to you, but it's not going to happen because you just want it to happen. It's going to happen because you absolutely execute, not make any excuses. So look forward to connecting with everybody that taps in with me. And yeah, man, let's go out here and get it.
All right. Proud of you, Kemoy.
Appreciate you.
Inspiration, man. Inspiration. Be blessed. Man.